Welcome to Bloodbath TV. Today we're reviewing Steven Spielberg's first film, Duel.
But that man is crazy. He's been trying to kill me. I mean it.
Well, I tell you, if I had to vote on who's crazy around here, it'd be you.
When you think of Steven Spielberg, you think of two things, Jaws and E.T. And I really thought that the first movie was probably Jaws until the Morphew, thanks to Patreon. He recommended this and I'd never even heard of Duel. Looking it up, it's inspired many things from music to movies, probably most notably Joyride. This is a film about a guy in an orange car just trying to get to a job or a meeting of some sort, and there's a jerk in a big truck who does not want him to succeed today. It is definitely the biggest case of road rage ever, and we're just gonna talk about it.
Looks like you could use a new radiator hose.
I'll get one later, thanks.
You're the boss.
Not in my house, I'm not.
Going into this, I was really hesitant because you're like, okay, it's just a guy and he's driving for so long, like an hour and a half movie, what can possibly happen? 3/4 of the way into the movie, I was like, I am so mad. Why won't he let him pass? Why does he keep stopping? What is going on? You're gonna be frustrated with this film for all the right reasons. I was raging.
I gave you the road. Why don't you take it?
I was actually raging in other reasons because everybody was like, hey, what's wrong? And he was like coming up with all these excuses when all he had to ever say was like, I'm getting chased off the road by this giant transport truck. Or when he's in the restaurant, you don't just approach the person and buy them a beer and smack their sandwich out of their hand. You just be like, hey, is that your truck? Oh no, it isn't. I'm sorry for bothering you. Go to the next person. Like, he just needed to use common sense, but it's a movie, so what do you expect?
If you think you can take that truck of yours and just use it as a murder weapon, just killing people on the highway, well, you're wrong. You've got another thing coming.
So you brought up a good point. We aren't just on the road. For like the first 20 minutes, it's just like almost a POV of the car, or just basically the camera positioned around the car that David Mann is driving, played by Dennis Weaver, who did an awesome job. But basically he's just driving down the road. He tries to pass the truck doesn't like it, and David just needs to try and figure out like how he can get around this truck. Can he stop at this cafe? Can he just pull over to the side of the road and have a nap before a train drives by and wakes him up? He even does some like stuntman shit and drives off-road and comes around and goes in front of him.
I like how you casually say, can I stop at this cafe, when he like fishtails into a fence. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna casually park my car, parallel park, and I'm gonna walk to Chuck's. No, he freaking slid like it was a pit maneuver into the fence, wiping the whole thing out.
You're right. Even having like two patrons come out like, are you okay, bud? You just got whiplash?
Oh, my neck.
You got a whiplash, probably.
Farmer with the masseuse, like, here, let me get your neck for you.
Yes, it wasn't a casual stop at the cafe.
Just a little whiplash is all.
The whole scene at the cafe was just like wild tension of like, let's just have the process of elimination. Who could be this truck driver?
Right, because the truck is outside. He sees that when he sits down. Well, one of these brown boot-wearing motherfuckers is the driver of this truck that's been stalking me. And I loved it. I thought the tension in that scene specifically is really what made this movie better than expected. Because the shots, the angles, and you have people defocus, you have people leaning back from the bar, you have people leaning into frame, and he's just freaking out. And you have like this inner monologue in his head of just like, I need to stop whoever is fucking with me. And you as the audience, you're just like, whoa, who is possibly doing it? They all look the goddamn same.
A whole bunch of cowboys sitting on the bar drinking their beers.
He's got some souped up diesel. My car's just not that powerful. I just can't drive 80 and 90 miles an hour.
I do want to point out that they had an amazing long take right out the gate when he walked in, and he just like goes into the washroom trying to figure out what the hell's happening. He wipes himself off, he walks out, and he starts questioning things right out the hop. It goes on for like a good 3 minutes. Very cool.
And I like that they found ways to get him off the road. The school bus scene was
With all the little bastard kids.
yeah, making faces in the window.
You could feel his blood boil, I tell ya.
Don't sit on the hood. That hood will dent. I told the kids not to get on the hood.
You have that little situation, and then all of a sudden the truck driver seems like a good guy because he's just like, here, let me pull around and boost this bus out. But Snake-O-Rama
Take a look at my snakes if you have time.
That was like the most random stop and one of the most destructive stops. You didn't think like the transport truck was gonna like run him down and like take out the phone booth, take out some snakes, iguanas, tarantulas, all sorts of stuff, even little old ladies.
Well, I don't think the little old lady got taken out.
Almost. She was trying to get her iguana.
Yeah, that's true. They definitely killed real animals. You're looking at these crates. You're like, oh, they're probably just empty crates. But the moment that that transport truck runs down things, you can see the iguana move because he's scared for his fucking life. So I imagine there's real snakes in that other one.
Not like you cared.
I hate snakes.
Jason, you're modern day Dr. Jones, a little indie over here.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Like I kind of mentioned earlier, there's a lot of things that irritated me about this film. And I think it just has to do with more on how people interacted with the situations. Because it just came off as very unrealistic, especially when our main character like waves the old couple over in the car. They're like, listen, this guy's trying to kill me. Can you call the cops? And like instantly, old lady, you're crazy.
My life's in danger. Stop it, mister. You're just cut me off.
And people are supposed to be friendlier in the olden days.
Now I'm starting to question things. Like, I think the old days suck too. Like, this guy just wants to drive. Like, leave him the fuck alone.
I don't know why the truck driver was overreacting so much.
Oh, boy, you're beautiful.
I think I kind of liked him, to be honest. Like, yeah, he's a huge asshole. But at the same time, he's a truck driver. They just like drive across the country. They're bored as fuck. They need some fun. So why not torment a poor guy just trying to get to a meeting?
Let's commit murder. Why not? Gotta kill some time. He was trying to push his car into a train track.
Yeah, but that was at least subtle. Just nudge him towards the train.
There was so much space. You could have just went into drive, turned your tires and just right around, truck through the train.
We glossed over the cinematography. Cinematography was awesome. There's a reason why Spielberg blew up. Like, you watch this movie and you're like, this is a first-time director? Bullshit. Because this movie looks amazing. It sounds great. It's well edited. And even tension, just from a guy looking at the gauges on his car. Like, I think the editing, both in sound design and just like the visuals, was amazing.
Come on, you miserable fathead. Get that fat-ass truck out of my way.
The fact that this is not a dialogue-heavy movie really says something. It's just a lot of relying on the sound effects and the silence. It's just you getting lost in the film.
And Dennis Weaver absolutely killed it. And I'm shocked that I've never even heard of this. Isn't that weird? I wonder how many other movies that are this old or even older that influence a lot of things made today. And we're just like, oh, I didn't know. Steven Spielberg, he's gonna be a hit.
We're gonna go partner him up with this other up-and-comer named George Lucas. Let's see what kind of magic they can make together.
Isn't that fucked? Like, what's George Lucas's first film? I don't know. Maybe it's a fucking awesome horror movie.
Like Peter Jackson?
Yeah, being a feature debut at this scale, like the stunt work was amazing and the coordination to time some of the shots with speeding cars, speeding trucks, and trains. It's unreal for somebody's first movie. And if you had a new production company, you're like, hey, who's this unnamed guy? Go make a movie. Hopefully it works out. That's the biggest gamble in history that worked out for everybody involved. Except Dennis Weaver. I don't know who he is.
Well, I mean, he was Buck McCoy on The Simpsons.
Everything tastes better when it's lassoed. Would you lasso me a banana?
Now, how the hell would I do that?
And if you haven't seen the movie, just to let you know what the ending is, David jumps out of his car, the truck drives him off of the cliff, we see some blood, we assume that the driver is dead, we don't learn who the driver is, and I think that's pretty cool. I like not knowing who the killer was. I think it adds to it.
I'm just waiting for the 50th anniversary where Spielberg's gonna come out and be like, Duel 2, The Duelist Returns.
It will be like Maniac Cop 2. Instead of like reaching up and grabbing the badge, he reaches up and grabs the shifter or something.
If we could get a sequel to The Shining, why can't we get one to Duel?
I'm gonna be honest, I think it's strictly because there's no fans of it. It's 50 years ago. That's not to say that I don't like 70s movies. I mean, I'm a big Halloween fan. It's my favorite film. But I think like the real diehards of the film Duel, that's just cars chasing each other, have moved on and they work for Hasbro and they're making some micro machines or some shit.
We got Transformers, we got Too Fast, Too Furious, we get Maximum Overdrive.
Maximum Overdrive remake needs to happen, but talking about Transformers has an intro that is directly inspired by this movie with Optimus Prime doing it.
Really?
Yeah.
Go around, you jerk.
So what are we rating this?
The only item I could really think of that would make this entertaining is giving it 4.5, the only way to order rye bread, out of 5.
Why don't you just give me a cheese sandwich, Swiss cheese on rye, R-Y-E.
I think it was a good film. I think people will enjoy it. I'm gonna give it 3 just casual phone calls out of 5. It was an interesting movie. What do you guys think? Have you guys seen this? Have you even heard of it? I know there's a lot of boomers out there that'll be like, yeah, it's my favorite film. How are you just watching it now? We're younger than you. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Like this video, and if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay up to date with everything here on Bloodbath TV.